everybody. Welcome to the Good Days Only podcast. It's me, your girl, Zesty Zoe B. And in my lap, I've got Hen Doggy Dog. He's going to be giving us a breakdown of the stock market right now, so tune in for that. Anyways, today I have a guest on my show. Some of you might know him as Is a Snake or Is a Turt
Lil
or
Turt,
Lil
dude.
Turt.
Lil Turt. Lil Turt 95. It's a Turt sounds too doo-doo-y.
Or by this other nickname, more recent, my fiance.
Ooh, dropping bombs like that right off the bat, huh?
Yep,
Shoot, I
yep,
didn't realize we were just gonna crack into it like that. Well,
yep.
hey, here we are. Thank you for
Hey,
joining me, Zesty Zoe B. And we're gonna get into this episode, and it's gonna be a fun one. We've got some fun stories to tell from when we were just down in the Yucatan Peninsula, and yeah, let's get into it, and then we'll give you guys the whole lowdown about all the steps that it took and all the plans and everything that went into the engagement.
hmm
Here we are. All right, here we are, and we've got these new little clickers. So we're gonna be trying to take some clips. I'm gonna start
You doing
clicking.
it?
Yes.
Oh,
And how do we break into this? Let's talk about the Yucatan Peninsula. So
yeah.
we were just on a little bit of a vacation, if you
hmm
will. You put me onto that term. I had never heard that term before, but for all of you who might not know, Baecation is it's spelled Baecation, right? So it's when two
Lovers,
lovers,
friends.
friends, like that song by Lil Jon and Usher, go on a little getaway, right? You go on your little vacation with nobody else that you have to pay mind to. You don't got to worry about what the rest of the family's doing. You don't got to worry about the friends that want to go hit up Subway at midnight or whatever, right?
That's you. You're
You
the
can
friend.
just do whatever. Don't got to put me on blast. But it was really cool
Yeah,
because we had
it's
never
fun.
really experienced that before.
Yeah, we've gone on a lot of family trips, which have been incredible. Like, super grateful for all those
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah. We're not saying we hate our
No, no,
family,
no. Just
right, family?
it was just nice. It was very slow moving, and we did exactly what we wanted to do, and it was great.
Right. It's
Yeah.
nice. There's no pressure of like, yeah, like catering to anybody else. So we went from one peninsula to a whole other peninsula.
Yeah.
We were down in the Yucatan for what, like 8 days? It
Eight
was eight
days.
days
Yeah.
total. And when we first landed, I'm going to say this because this blew my mind. When we first landed, and we talked about this already, but you know how when you fly you're out here in the Pacific Northwest, you fly into Seattle, Washington, right? And you are landing and you can see all of the individual pine trees,
Mm.
right? Like as you're getting closer, you see like, oh yeah, that's a pine tree, that's a pine tree, that's a pine tree. And as you were landing, as we were landing in Cancun, because we landed in Cancun first, I just thought everything was like very lush green grass.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was just all grassy, nice, like, you know, a perfectly like maintained yard, some sort of a golf course or something like that.
Mhm.
And then as you got closer and closer, I was like, oh, that's weird. There's like just a straight line that cuts through this grass. I was like, oh, it's just a big field, because in Eastern Washington, you see that. You're
Right.
used to that, right?
Yeah.
And no, as we got closer, you realize, oh shit, this is a 20-foot tall, like full on jungle.
Forest.
You're
Yeah.
out there in the jungle,
hmm
and it's such a thick brush that you can't see through it. Like as we were
Yeah.
walking around out there, like you can't see more than what, a couple 100 feet. Like you can't see a mile. I mean, I guess in the forest here, you can't really do that either.
No, but yeah, it just looked very dense and lush and
Yeah,
like made me wonder what it was like underneath all that.
different, right?
Probably pretty cool and like
Yeah,
mysterious.
yeah,
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. The
yeah.
vegetation and everything.
The vegetation was super different. The birds were super different. I mean, and these are things that, like, of course, right? You're like, oh, duh, the birds are different in different climates or whatever.
The birds all had really long tails.
Yeah, that
Or
was
is
one
that
thing we noticed.
I don't know, but they all had like no matter what kind of bird, they just had like these long tails on them.
Hmm.
Like even ones that look like crows. It was like a crow, but with a long tail.
You think that's used for speed? You think they needed it for speed?
Probably. If
Or you
it's
think
like
they needed it for
stuff. And like, I don't know.
a little different in the yeah, there was the story that
It looks cooler.
what's his name? Our tour guide, Mika.
Okay.
Yeah, he told us about the legend of the Quetzal. Or maybe it wasn't the Quetzal. It was a different bird. There's a different bird that we saw out there that was like a blue-green bird that had the
It was a quetzal.
no, it wasn't. He
What?
actually told us, yeah, that wasn't it.
Oh.
But this one had it was similar, like in the color, like in the vibrant color and stuff. But this one was the one that had like the split tail. And the reason that that happened was, as one of the legends go, that there was this huge storm or some sort of hurricane or something, and all of the animals would know to go. And this was like, a legend thing. So like thousands of years ago, whatever, and all of the animals go and seek refuge under this tree or inside this like hollowed out tree. And this bird was like it didn't make it in all the way, and its tail got stuck outside of the tree, like where it was hit by the rainstorm or whatever. And then a tree branch snapped off or something happened and it cut the tail in half. And so that's why it has two individual like long
Yeah.
tail feathers. But that bird was really pretty. Look at us talking about birds. Dude, this is the exact thing. Dude, I
I just
know,
love
but
looking at birds. I'm like, oh,
that's true. They're
hey,
pretty.
there's a bird.
Yeah.
That one's
Like,
different.
what do you think? What are you doing over there?
Yeah.
What are you doing around these parts, bird?
Yeah.
Why are you
They're
still
cool.
hanging out here? Aren't you supposed to like fly somewhere else? Anyways, okay, so we landed in Cancun. Beautiful, lush green vegetation.
Sure.
We stay there one night. We hit up a couple spots in the Yucatan Peninsula, right? We go to Cancun, then we go to Valladolid, and that was a beautiful little town inland. And then we go to Playa del Carmen, right? So we hit up these three spots around the Yucatan. And of those three spots, or just like overall, what do you say is your favorite experience or the thing that stuck out where you're like, dude, next time I come back to Yucatan, I have to do this. Or anybody out there that's listening right now, if you're ever out there in that area, you gotta do this thing.
Well, thanks for asking. I first and foremost would go not in May. I would go in like December, January. So it was
Okay.
it was the peak or like the start of the very hot season, and golly, it was hot. For us Washingtonians too, it was kind of like, oh my God, it just felt I haven't been that hot. I
Yeah.
haven't sweated that much in a long
And when you're
time.
saying hot, like it was hot. It was
It was so
94 degrees. It was 94 to 98 degrees
Yeah.
each of
Yeah.
the days that we were there. And
Valladolid too is inland, so there's no water. There's no like
right.
there's windy, but there wasn't like a sea breeze to cool you down.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah, but what was your favorite thing? We got off on a tangent about like the heat, but what
Ask
was
me like if I knew so if what I would do differently.
okay? That's what it
Favorite
is.
thing though would be um honestly all the food that we had in
Mm,
Valladolid. We had quite a few Maya dishes.
yeah.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you, and
Also we had some really good mezcalitas. Like just going out to different restaurants and trying all their different things that they had to offer was a lot of fun. Just kind of exploring Valladolid because it's such a cool city.
hmm Yeah, I agree. Exploring was a lot of fun, although we walked a ton. That one day I walked straight up, no shit. This was the most I think I've ever walked in a day. Maybe not, I don't know. I've never tracked it, but that day I
Music
walked
festival.
20,000 steps. I walked 20, it was like 20,100 something steps
Yeah.
in just one day. That was insane. And that's where I feel like the start of my tingly toes and tingly fingers started was because I started to get peripheral neuropathy all of a sudden for like a couple days. Also, the dehydration probably didn't help, but um, yeah, no, a lot of walking. It was really hot. The UV index was also
Yeah.
insane.
It's like 11.
Yeah, I didn't
Which I
realize it
thought
could go.
I thought 10 was the highest.
Right,
But I guess 13 is.
a
I
13,
don't know.
but 11 UV index. That's crazy. My shoulder just, we were talking about this before. My shoulder actually just peeled off.
Yeah.
Like my entire left shoulder peeled off just now, today. And we're like a week after, or like when we get back, we got back a few days ago. But um, it was kind of like that scene in, you remember Mortal Kombat? I
Yeah.
made you watch Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You know, when the Scorpion, you know how there's Scorpion and also Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
You know how Scorpion, he has like this, the evolution, and he like becomes this like skull face guy. His face like melts off in one of the scenes, and that's what it
Yeah.
felt like. That's what my shoulder looks like. But
Definitely don't remember that. Sorry, but
you said food, you said exploring,
yeah.
you said, so like, what do you think about the, because we hit up a few museums. That was the most museums I've ever been to. I was thinking about it. I think I've never been into a museum.
Before?
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, it was pretty sick.
I guess I've been to museums.
We went to the textile museum, the fashion museum, which was super cool, very interesting. Um,
It's called Murem.
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 Yeah.
Murem, which
Yeah.
stands for something that I don't know off the top of my
Mhm.
head.
Yeah. And so that was super cool, very interesting seeing the evolution of how people dress and then also the influence from Spain
Oh
when they
yeah.
came in, like a lot of the frilly dresses that you would see around the Yucatan is because of the Spanish. They brought that style in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
the what did he call it? Like the layered dresses, like the
yeah,
ones that you see like at quinceañeras and shit.
yeah, exactly. So, super interesting to learn about that kind of stuff. And then it was also air conditioned in there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, we would seek refuge in any
Lovely.
AC that you could find
Yeah.
anywhere. I would say the also before we get past this, my like anybody that hasn't done this before, you gotta go check out Chichen Itza.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're in that area, you gotta check out one of the seven wonders of the world. It's breathtaking. It's one of those things that really is awe-inspiring. And for anybody that's like, yeah, but I'm not really into the outdoors thing, or I don't whatever, like, because we know people
Okay.
like that. You know people like that. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Just go.
It was very walkable, I must say.
Yeah. Again, we walked a lot. But going out there, it's one of those things. I've never seen the pyramids of Egypt or like Old Faithful. Is that one of the wonders of the world? I don't know if it is. But
Oh,
like the Sphinx, the pyramids for
yeah,
sure, Great Wall of China. I've
sure.
never seen that, but I can imagine how amazing it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pictures just never do things justice, right? Like
Right.
that this is one of those things where we can bring back all the pictures of Chichen Itza and you can Google it and stuff. And oh yeah, it's a pyramid or whatever. But dude, think about just standing there. I would put myself in that position of like, or in that, try to imagine thousands of years ago, this was a thriving city. This
Yeah.
was a thriving population, hundreds of thousands of people. I think millions of people, maybe even in the Maya, like the Maya.
Just like as a whole.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like at the
definitely.
height of
Yeah,
when the
yeah.
Mayans were like in control of that whole area.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And just thinking about all the work that they had to do to build and create these structures
Yeah,
because they didn't have they didn't have cranes. They didn't have, these.
that we
I
know
don't
of.
even know if they had wheels. We were listening to that
What you're
podcast,
saying is they didn't have animals, the what do you
Beasts of Burden.
beasts of burden.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to have their like ox or anything pull these great wagons. Oh, bless you.
Bless you, Henry.
Full of, these tools and whatnot. It was pretty much all done by hand.
Yeah.
And they I mean, they definitely probably invented some sort of machine, like pulleys or something to help with it. But still, it's like
Dog is
didn't
sneezing.
did not have a bulldozer, did not have a
Yeah.
crane, none of
Yeah.
that
So
stuff. So
so
it's
they
just
were just carrying it. Like, and hey,
like
you and me, Eduardo and, oh well, no, not even that. They had fun names. They had cool names like the
yeah,
Maya language. We also learned a little bit of Mayan
a little
words.
bit.
I'm not gonna try to say them now because I'm gonna butcher them, and
And we
it
forgot.
was, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of difficult, but go check Chichen Itza
Yeah,
out. Go swim in a cenote. Dip
yeah.
your toes in that sacred, clean, pristine, clear water. It's really a
It was insane.
breathtaking experience.
Yeah, the cenotes were wild.
I think
Like,
I'm a changed person.
yeah, definitely.
No, other than my actual like physically my skin peeling off.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I think So the cenotes were really cool. The first one was, it felt like a water park. Had a really good buffet at it, like super cool,
Yeah, that one was super cool.
very clean. There were peacocks there. Like it was very cool, very nice. But the second cenote that we went to was kind of just like on someone's property.
Yeah, it was just like
And
some backwoods property. Somebody built a couple of stairs
the
to like go.
stairs were just like willy-nilly kind of put into the side of the cenote.
Yeah.
I'm sure they weren't willy-nilly, but like you would just see like you have the wall of the cenote and then the logs are just like at a what? I don't even know what degree,
Just
45-degree
yeah,
angle
just random
basically.
angles, like whatever fit was how they built it.
Yeah. And I was like, oof,
I could
walking
just
down these
imagine.
stairs, a little scary, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I could just imagine just like a few people fucking hammering a nail out there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
building this thing.
But it was super cool. Like it was very, what did he call it? Like primitive kind of
No, he was like, "This is very rustic. This
rustic. Yeah,
next one you're going to is very
very
rustic." It
rustic.
was a very nice way of him putting it.
It was kind of creepy, like because we were the only two people there, and it was
Yeah.
also the water was much darker than at the first cenote, and
Hmm.
it was just the two of us down there in this cave. The sun was starting to go behind the cenote, so it was getting darker.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of these black catfish just swimming around, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm a little spooked."
Which was, I will say, a little bit romantic
It
though,
was
right?
romantic
Just the
for
two
sure.
of us were out there floating around. But you're right, it was a bit
It
creepy
was a
because you
little
can't
creepy.
see the bottom of this big sinkhole. If you don't know what a cenote is, I guess we should say what the cenote is. A cenote is spelled Cenote, and it is a whoa, big stretch. It is a essentially like a huge. There are three types of them. There's one that's like completely under like a cave that you have to like walk into.
Which is
There's one
what
that's half
the first
covered.
one, right? Or no?
No, there's one that's half covered, and then there's one that's just like open air. So like the half covered has kind of like a cave, but partially open, and then there's one that's just like wide open, where it's just this. You see, essentially, it looks like a big sinkhole
Yeah.
that goes down 100 feet, and then there's just this pristine blue clear water down there. And this was all a result of like one of the theories is that way back when that asteroid hit that wiped out the dinosaurs hit around that Yucatan Peninsula, and so all of that land used to be below sea level, and
Yeah.
so all of that after that meteor or that asteroid impact, that land came out from the sea, and all of that ocean water was dispersed elsewhere. The Yucatan soil is so rocky
It's very rocky, yeah.
that it has, I forget, what is it, a limestone? Is it
Limestone,
limestone or
yeah.
is it a different type of?
No, it's limestone.
So it has that limestone or that specific type of rock that like filters the water that is held in these cenotes, and then just rainfall, storms, hurricanes that come onto land, etc. All of this water just like continues to accumulate and get
And
filtered out
purify,
through
yeah.
this whole thing.
Yeah.
And these cenotes are all, I don't know if they're all, but a lot of them are interconnected
Mm-hmm.
underground.
Underground, yeah.
And so think about
Also
that.
a little spooky, no?
That's
It's
a
like
lot
you're like, oh,
spooky.
we're down. Ooh!
Yeah,
And you're
spooky.
just floating out there.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. So,
I can't think about it too
if,
much. The
yeah,
ocean
just don't think
scares
about it too
me.
much because you gotta go. You gotta go check it out at
Ocean
least once
water's a little spooky.
and
But
just go
yeah,
look.
just think about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
So
sick.
that gave us a little bit of a glimpse to like I really liked how our tour guide Mika, shout out to Mika, how he gave us, all the different theories and gave us the history and
It's very
all of the
knowledgeable.
yeah, he was super knowledgeable about like the Maya culture because I mean he is Maya,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm of Maya descent. And that's one of the things too that I think is I would encourage people as you're traveling not to just go and like see something and take a picture and yeah, it's beautiful and it's cool and you remember it. But dude, talk to the people, talk to the locals, talk to the ask about the culture, ask about, and I could see that it's a little bit, I've had these conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to intrude or I don't want to like appropriate somebody's culture. I don't know if it feels weird, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to like start that conversation, like, hey, tell me about your culture. But there's ways of broaching that conversation with people, especially when you're in another country. Like, I don't know if you experience that. Like, I think coming from your perspective too is like talking to like our Airbnb host, like
Yeah.
Abelardo, like talking to the people that were living there, like, hey, tell me a little bit more. And they're just so
Very
happy
open.
to have those conversations because it is a beautiful life and a way of living and a different way of living than what we're used to,
Yeah.
right? Um, so yeah, I would say another one of my favorite things was the just like talking to all of the people around that area because even though I am Mexican, it's a different side of Mexico,
Hmm.
right? And this is something too that we learned at that textile museum, how the Spanish influence, how it came across the country. But so my family and all of our origins are from the Pacific side,
Hmm.
so from the west coast of Mexico. So this is a completely different, like there are totally different dishes of
Yeah.
food. There's an entirely different dialect, the Mayan dialect, right? The or Mayan language.
Yeah.
Um, so there are a lot of things out there that I mean I had never even heard of, right? I had never even seen or experienced.
Right.
So it also, to me, it was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, favorite things. We had a lot of good food.
Food.
What dish did you like the best?
You know what? So the night we got engaged, we went to this like fancy hotel restaurant, and one of the dishes that we tried was they were like these enchiladas
Oh
with
yeah,
cheese, I think. And
yeah.
then
I think it was just crema, right? Or was it a green
no,
sauce?
the sauce was
Oh, that's right.
pumpkin seeds ground up. It was
Damn,
really good. It was so like creamy, it had a really interesting flavor. Really liked that. And then
that was bomb.
what else? What else? Some really good seafood, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of like I was like, we need to eat as much of it as we can from this area, especially when we went to the all-inclusive, because I was like, that's more expensive. We got to make our money's worth.
Yeah,
But
get your
anyways,
swordfish steaks.
yeah, just wonderful food all around.
Yeah, I think my
And fun.
favorite, I still think about that ceviche.
Oh
It
yeah,
was the second day we were there, or the first day or
it was the
second day we
first
were there.
day in Cancun.
And yeah, the ceviche was a mixed ceviche, so it had octopus, clams, shrimp, uh,
Just
a
fish.
couple other, yeah, and then like fish, some white fish, and maybe one other or two other seafood things, and then like the classic, like the carrots, and it had pepinos, and it had cebolla, but the sauce
Mhm.
was so good.
Yeah,
It was like
it was
maybe there was like some sort of there was like some sweetness in there.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire maybe.
It was
Worcestershire.
it was
Uh,
very savory, very umami.
umami. That's right.
Umami.
That's right.
But really though, it was good. You know what it reminded me of was like a Bloody Mary.
A little bit. A little
A little bit.
bit.
Delicious.
Yeah, like the mix.
Delicious.
Delicious. Delicious. Yeah, favorite things, a lot of favorite things. Least favorite thing, I think we agree on that. And
Yeah,
you already said it. Like
just the heat was a
it
lot.
was
And then also the bug
it was
bites.
hot.
We should have
True.
thought more about that.
True. I didn't
Honestly,
think about that at all.
we didn't do a ton of research. We did,
No.
here's the thing. We did a lot of research about like Maya history and all that stuff and the culture, but about actually traveling to Valladolid or
Yeah, I didn't even think about looking at what time of the year or like what's it gonna be like when
yeah,
we go in May.
yeah,
And
which is so silly. Like, who do we think we are?
that's just like
Ick.
travel 101, huh?
Um,
But it was hot as shit.
it
It
was
was
hot, yeah.
like we said, 95 degrees. Humidity was off the charts. You walk outside and you start instantly sweating.
I was
Your
taking
face,
like 4 showers a
your face
day.
was constantly
My
sweaty.
face was red and sweaty.
You had a sweat mustache at all times, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Well, we matched, so
Yeah, true. I had something to hide it. My mustache hid it.
yeah, it was a lot. So next time, December or January for sure. But other than that, I really wouldn't change anything. I
Yeah.
loved the area. Our Airbnb hosts were angels on earth. Just
Don
the
Abelardo,
location.
Romy, shout out to you. I know you're probably never gonna hear this, but if
We
you
could
do,
send it to them
we
on
could send it. You're
Airbnb.
right. You're right. Yeah.
Um,
What
yeah.
what were some takeaways from the trip, your first ever vacation?
First ever vacation. Well, we ended
Do's
up
and don't do's.
getting engaged, so that was pretty sick. Did not expect that at all.
All right,
Um,
let's
Would
go through
definitely
the story.
recommend that.
Let's do the story. We
Recommend
gotta do the
getting
story. Ready?
engaged. Okay.
You're gonna start your perspective of the engagement story.
All right. All
So
right. So
run us through it.
basically,
What was happening?
all right. It was what, night two in Valladolid,
Mhm.
another hot day.
Mhm.
And Octavio was like, "Hey, let's go out to dinner. Let's go to this fancy restaurant that's, you know what? I just remembered the enchiladas that I was just talking about.
Yeah,
It had hard-boiled egg in them. It wasn't
that's
cheese, but
right.
it was so good.
It was huevos.
Anyways,
That was really good.
I just remembered the
Damn, you're
taste
right.
in
The
my
texture.
mouth.
I forgot about that
Anyways,
because we were a couple mezcalitas deep.
we
Okay,
were
so rewind. Day
Octavio.
two, we're there. It's hot as shit. We're sweaty. We're walking.
Yeah, Octavio's like, let's go out to a fancy dinner. This was after we went to Chichen Itza and the cenotes. So
True.
long day, hot day.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
my man was like, hey, let's go get some fancy food. And who am I to say no to that? So get myself all dolled up, had a couple pre-dinner beveraginos. As
Mm-hmm.
we're on our way out the door, our Airbnb hosts are like, "Hey, would you like to do a shot of mezcal?" And we're like, "Well, who am I to say no? Shit." So we did, and then we ended up going to this restaurant, ordering a drink,
Mm-hmm.
another excellent mezcalita, and as soon as I finish said drink, I'm like, "Whoa." All of the alcohol, dehydration, sunburn, exhaustion, starvation, not actually.
Dude,
We hadn't eaten since lunch or something.
that's the
It all
five S's
combined in
right
that one
there.
moment. And
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit. Like I might have the spins right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, Octavio?
And from my perspective too, I was looking and I was like, yo, we're getting a little wavy right now. We're getting a little wavy.
Yeah. And I was like, Octavio, I think after we eat, let's go back to the Airbnb immediately.
Yeah.
So I was like, we were planning on going out after, and I was like, I don't think I can. I'm feeling a little crazy, and I think I need to call it a night.
Yeah. Which
And
props to you for knowing, like, yeah,
yeah,
you know what? I'm hitting my limit. I'm hitting that wall. But
exactly.
also for your boy, when I'm saying, oh shoot, I'm about to get down on one knee, dude. I'm about to pop the question. I'm getting stoked for this. We're like having some pregame drinks before
Yeah.
dinner. I'm like, it's gonna happen. And so me hearing this, I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh wait, what am I doing? Oh no, am I gonna do this still? Wait, we gotta go home. What if she vomits? What if she passes out? It's hot still. It's
Mhm.
like, 9 p.m. or whatever, and it's still 80 degrees out and we're still sweaty.
And our restaurant was
Yeah, it
outdoors
was
too.
outdoors in a courtyard. But so
Also, here's another element that made me feel worse. I ordered soup for
she
dinner
ordered soup. You ordered hot
because
soup.
it was a Maya traditional dish. It
Yeah.
was called queso relleno.
And that's also true. It was called queso relleno, and
And I was like, oh,
usually
so
that means,
cheese?
yeah,
It was not. It
it
was
was
something
not.
different. Something really good, but different. So that also was contributing. Anyways.
Yeah. So here we are. So from my perspective, so this was, the day of. Valid. All points. It was a hot day. It was a long day. We woke up at 7 a.m. We were picked up at 7 a.m. So we woke up before that to go out to Chichen Itza, to go to the cenotes. We're swimming around. Anybody, if you've ever just been out in the sun for a couple hours and you go swimming, you're tired. You're tired after just like 2 or 3 hours.
Hungry.
Yeah. And we're tired. We're hungry. This was the day that I put in 21,000 steps. Um, and part of it was we got back to the Airbnb after all of
And
our
I was like,
trips.
let's have a
I had to go figure something out with the public transit because that was going to be our ride back to Playa del Carmen, which the ADO transportation system, if you're ever looking into traveling out in that area, definitely look at that. It's very cheap, very affordable, and super comfy. It was like a nice, big,
Seats were
cushy
comfy.
bus, recliner
There
seats,
was a movie playing.
movie
There
playing,
was a
AC
bathroom.
blasting, bathroom in the back.
I
Yeah,
will say going to the bathroom was scary.
that was kind of a tough. Yeah, I was like,
I was
yeah, yeah, no,
all
it
over
was
the
tough. It was tough.
place.
I think there was actually a sign that said "Men do not pee standing up." Like it said, like there was a little image of a guy, and it was like you could see the little dribbles of
Was
pee going down into the
great.
seat, and it was like, "Don't do that."
That's funny. You
um,
had to do a sit down pee?
I should have. I didn't see the sign before I started peeing, but it was hard. It was an extreme sport. It was
Yeah.
something that I think Jeff Probst should consider putting on Survivor. Like have one of those buses and have the male contestants try to pee in the toilet without getting
Without
it
dripping.
everywhere. Okay, so back to the story. Here we are. We're in Valladolid again, painting the picture. Such a beautiful historic town. All of the architecture is super, like a lot of it is very old. Um, just a classic little town in inland Yucatan Peninsula. And so we go out, right? And a little backstory actually. We like weeks before we had planned this whole trip and we got the Airbnbs and everything. And so I had reached out to our Airbnb host and I was like, yo, this is the plan, all right? Bada boom, bada bing. Your boy's gonna be proposing. And it's a secret. She doesn't know. And so, is there any
I have not a clue.
is there any romantic, like little hotel or restaurants or like different experiences that we might be able to do, right? And so she gave me a list of stuff, and there was this restaurant that was on that list that was right there in the main downtown, and we were pretty walkable. Like the whole town was walkable, but we were able to walk to the main downtown center square in like 15 minutes
Mhm.
at a leisurely pace. And so I was like, all right, bet. I'm gonna make some reservations. I walked in there, I made reservations, I talked to the people, like I chose the table. Um, I was like, okay, this is gonna be the time we're gonna be here. Uh, and they're like, bet, all right, we're gonna have it all ready for you. We pull up, and I was like, all right, I had carried the ring in my pocket
Loosey goosey.
because the box they gave me was hey, and shout out to Brenda at K Jewelers. Like, thank you for the whole process. It was very seamless and very easy. But one piece of feedback, and she acknowledged it already, is the box is huge, right? They give you a huge box for a ring that's
It's a
like
pretty small
a
ring.
quarter of
It's a
the
small
size.
ring, but like
It's just, I mean, it's a small, you got small
it's
hands.
it's a that yeah,
You
it's a
don't need
small
you don't
object.
need a box the size of a fucking
Well,
that
the size
box.
of a small apple.
Yeah, it was the size of a mug. Like that was a mug in my pocket. Like
Yeah, it's
so
pretty boxy.
anyways, I wasn't going to be carrying this around. And originally I had thought, okay, maybe I'm going to just do this at one of the wonders of the world, Chichen Itza, or in one of the cenotes. But then my mind gets racing and I'm like, oh shit, what if I drop it? What if I lose it? What if X,
Yeah.
Y, Z? And then there goes that whole plan out the window, right? And so I was like, dinner, this is when it's going to happen. Reservations are made, the scene is set, we got a couple drinks in us, we're feeling relaxed, we're feeling good about the day, we're on vacation, baby, and we're just getting started, right? And so we go to dinner. Everything that Zoe said happens. I'm like, oh shit, her tummy hurts. We gotta maybe get out of here. Am I still gonna do this? Nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna power through. And then I reach over across the table and I say one of the most adorable things I've ever said in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like,
And
what'd you
I
say?
said,
Oh, yeah,
"You're not gonna propose, are you?"
yeah, I was like, oh shit. And so here I am again. And I'm gonna say this over and over and over again, but you know that meme of Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover? That's what I feel like now in on this at this dinner table because I'm like, oh shit, like okay, what do I do? Do I continue? Do I abort? Are we gonna go back real quick before she throws up all over this table? What's happening? And so I'm like freaking out a little bit inside, right? My heart's starting to race. I'm like, oh shit. Before this, I was I was cool, calm, and collected. And now, even right now, I'm getting worked up about it. So I was like, fuck it. No, we're going. I'm going to do this. And we powered through. And I was like, oh, I kind of just like deflected that one. I was like, oh, nah.
Oh, that would hurt my feelings if
Oh,
I were, though.
yeah, I was like, haha, of course not. Who would do that on this romantic first vacation ever together at this nice fancy restaurant? Asking you to put on that cute dress and making sure that your nails were done before. And anyways, powered through. I get up. I stand up, dude. I got the fucking S on my chest. I'm going. And I cross across this table and I moved the little stupid rack that had the purse on it because they put a rack right there and it was right in the way too. I was like, damn, dude, the universe is trying me right now. But I kept going and I moved that rack. And as I'm getting down onto one knee, Zoe goes, no, 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 don't do this. My tummy hurts. And I was like, oh my God, dude, what in the world? And literally, this was me in transit, not in transit, but like in action, like getting down on one knee. I'm like, fuck. And so I was like, no, dude, push through, push through. And I got down on one knee, the fireworks go off. I asked you to marry me, and she said
I
yes.
said
You
yes.
said
And
yes.
then
Got your ass,
miraculously,
dude.
I felt better. I forgot that I didn't feel good, and everything was okay.
Yeah, all you needed was a proposal.
I was like,
Dude, that's a remedy for anything, huh?
yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I might faint or pass out. Like, I was
Yeah.
scared that when you proposed, like, I was gonna do either of those things, and then, like, it'd be a even weirder story.
That's true. And to be fair, those were two things that I was like, okay, when I propose, there are two things I'm worried that might happen. One is because I mean, I didn't even think like, oh yeah, she's gonna say. I was like, I got this in the bag. I was like, she's gonna say yes. All right, you know how your boy does it. But two things that I was worried about was, is she gonna throw up on me? And
Wouldn't be
two,
the first time.
and two, dude, forgot about that.
No, keep
And
going.
two was, is she gonna faint? And I was like, oh shit. So that's one of the things also that kind of steered me away from asking at
Chichen
Chichen
Itza.
Itza
Yeah.
or at the cenotes because I was like, I don't know. You see those pictures online of people at Chichen Itza and there's just 20,000 people around, you know? And so I was like, I don't want it to be a scene like that
Yeah.
if something does go down. I didn't want you to just pass out in the middle of the forest somewhere
You could have
or
gone
in the
viral though.
jungle. Yeah, probably.
Hmm.
White girl passes out
White girl.
at Chichen Itza. um,
Your
yeah, yeah.
ancestors were like, no,
Nah, dude,
not
that
this
was
way.
so. No, yeah. So that was the like play by play going
Yeah.
through, and then your tummy felt better.
I felt
So
better.
I'm
But once
happy
we
to
unpacked the
report.
Airbnb, I was like,
Yeah, we
I need
did
to
still call it
get
a
into
night.
some air
AC.
condition ASAP and some water.
Yeah,
And then it was cool. It was cool. Yeah.
yeah. I think though now we'll never. Valladolid is always gonna be, you know, in
Yeah.
our hearts in a special way. It's one of
Yeah.
those things, like when you travel, right? You remember different places differently. But when you, I don't know, let's see. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like not going out of your way, but like Henry, watch out. Henry wanted to say something too.
He's mad he wasn't
What's up,
there.
buddy? He was mad. He wasn't there.
Yeah. Did you
But there were
ask
a
him?
lot of little animals that look like you and a lot of animals that could have eaten you.
Yeah. Did you ask him his permission?
No.
Well, that's explains his mood. Explains his
Can't
attitude.
say I
Since
did.
we've come back.
I think he was the one that kept bugging me that was like, hey, motherfucker,
What?
when's this gonna go down? Um, what was I saying? I was trying to say something about Valladolid is now in our minds
Oh,
and hearts forever.
he loved
But like
it.
when you go somewhere, it's like try to do that. Try to make that place. Whoa. Oh. Try to make that place a memorable place for, you know, like I don't know, like we were talking about experiencing the culture, talking to the people, talking to the locals. Like the when you travel somewhere, like I said a little bit ago, it's like it's easy to just go to like Florida, let's say Miami. I'm gonna just go to Miami. But for what, right? Like try to do some excursions, do some of the local stuff, do the food, try all the stuff that people eat there. Don't go to Mexico and get hamburgers and fries at
And
fucking dinner, dude.
dude,
You
there's
know what
so
I'm
many
saying?
Italian restaurants and pizza
Yeah.
spots in Valladolid, and I was like, that is the last thing I want to eat right now.
Although we did eat hibachi,
We had
but that
hibachi
shit was very good. That was
all
so good.
inclusive. We also had Italian
It
at the
was
all
so
inclusive.
good. All inclusive. Hey, shout out to Catherine because you gave us this hint and I
Oh
will
yeah.
never travel differently again. If you go on an extended vacation, something that's more than, let's say, what, 5 days, and you're going to be exploring, like we were talking about, some of the culture, different places around the areas, talking to the locals, etc. Get
Hmm.
yourself a couple Airbnbs, go here, go there, stay here 1 day, 2 days. But
Won't be too
then
much.
at the very end, always end at an all-inclusive resort for like
3 days
2 days,
minimum.
3 days.
I say 3 days minimum.
Yeah, if depending on how long your trip is, like, move that around. But yeah, definitely wrapping up at the all inclusive so that you don't have to worry about going out and trying to like get the
Yeah.
food or trying to drive somewhere, Uber somewhere, or you have everything that you need at that all inclusive, which
It's
was
magical.
really, really nice. And they treat you really well. Everybody's always like, that's their gig,
Hmm.
like hospitality, right? That's their gig. But yeah, so very highly recommended
Hmm.
to end your trip that way.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It also, going back to the appreciation thing, gives you the appreciation of like everything that you just did for the last couple days. Like, oh my God. And then you're in the all inclusive. Like, okay, the shower is like, the AC is
Yeah.
everywhere.
Hmm.
The showers are gigantic,
Hmm.
right? Which maybe you're not going to be seeing on like a Airbnb tour.
Oh, our Airbnb shower was pretty
That's true.
goddamn
That
cool.
one was very cool.
It was like half outside,
Yeah,
half inside. It
it
was
was nice.
crazy.
With like the big stained glass
Yeah,
windows and yeah, that was cool.
which, yeah, it
But
was.
there was, I will say, like because of that, and this reminded me of you, Henry, there was a lot of wildlife, right?
Hmm.
The little
Oh,
geckos, the
geckos,
little lizards.
geckos,
Yeah, there were a
yeah,
lot of geckos everywhere.
iguanas.
Yeah. And these
Yes.
geckos, I found a gecko uh in the shower. There was like the little gecko that like was running around in
A
there.
tiny little
Yeah,
baby.
and then I saw a couple more of them. One time in the middle of the night, if you have a dog and you have hardwood floors or tile, the sound from your dog walking around, right? Like the little click clack click clack. It was like that, but much faster because it was a little gecko, and it was like, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I thought Henry. I was like, Henry, like woke up in the middle of the night, look over, and it was just this little lizard walking around on the ground, which was a little bit scary too. I was like, dude,
Yeah,
what's stopping that guy from coming up in here and crawling into my mouth while I'm asleep? You
yeah,
know?
that's true.
Yeah. The Wait, I got on a tangent with the animal thing, but I was trying to say the appreciation thing.
Oh
You
yeah.
and I were talking about this when we were there. And think about this if you haven't already before, because when you travel somewhere, especially to a foreign country, a country that certain places maybe not as developed as the United States, right? We have a lot of the infrastructure here
Hmm.
is insane when you compare it to other places as far as like all of the money that goes into roadways, everything that goes into like building skyscrapers and building cities and metropolitan areas and means of of transportation, right? All these things. So when you go somewhere like where we were in Mexico, like it just blows my mind. Maybe blows my mind isn't the right thing, but it puts things into perspective when you realize that as you're walking around these little towns and cities, a lot of people that you bump into aren't going to ever have the opportunity or the chance to travel to another country for leisure
Sure, yeah.
the way that we were there. We were there having a good time, just like eating, drinking, sightseeing, swimming, all the fun things. But everybody that we encountered, like I'd bet that a majority of the local people that we encountered that just worked at like behind the counters or whatever
Hmm.
probably haven't left that area or Mexico as a country
Yeah.
to travel for leisure, for vacation.
Sure, yeah.
And I say this, it reminds me too because of like growing up, we didn't really like travel. Like we had a big family, 7 of us total. We didn't go on vacations like that. We weren't like
It's expensive
getting on flights and going to a different country,
for that
right?
many kids. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
And if we did go to on a vacation, it was like to Mexico,
Yeah.
and it wasn't necessarily for leisure. It was like always something was going on. Yeah, like we'd visit family, but it was like a funeral or like, somebody's like somebody got hurt and they're in the hospital or like whatever it was. Like there was always some sort of another reason that you needed to go there too. It was seldom, if ever, just to go and like hang out and relax.
Right.
And that is, I think, a big piece that I took away from this time of going down to Mexico is like, holy shit,
How
yeah,
lucky are we to be
yeah.
able to do that?
How fortunate are we
How
to
lucky are we that we have jobs that allow us to take time off and like
Yeah,
we can afford to go on these trips when yeah, it's expensive. It's a luxury for sure.
right.
But
Even though to us and to a lot of people in the United States, we're out here and we have good paying jobs. And yeah, like the economy sucks. Like it's hard to get by and our groceries are expensive and gas is super expensive. And all these things are stress inducing for sure. But then taking that extra step and going to like experiencing what we've experienced and just like seeing the way that people live and how I know we've talked about this time and time again, but how even though you don't have much to give, you're still living such a happy life and such a giving life.
yeah.
Like we were there for just a little bit. We bumped into, and I'm gonna just keep calling on our Airbnb hosts, and they didn't have much, but what they did have, they were like, "Hey,
Have whatever you
have some of this. Yeah, have whatever you want here. You're in your house, you know." So yeah, it's very, very beautiful, and I love the culture. I mean, shit,
want.
that's my culture.
Hell yeah,
So,
brother.
Viva
Viva Mexico.
Mexico, baby, and
I love
happy
it.
engagement.
Happy engagement. Thank you for
Yeah.
proposing. Thank you for pushing through those 2 roadblocks. I am so sorry. Next time, I guess, well, there won't be, well, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I would say here's another tip. Just be hydrated and stay
Hydration
cool.
is key. You're right. We
And
definitely did not do a
don't
good job.
don't be like me. But or do. It all ended up working out
Yeah,
okay.
we're fine.
At the
We're
end of the
good.
day, it's all love.
End of the day,
And we're gonna get married.
you're right. At the end of the day, it's all
All
love,
love.
baby. It's all love. Before we wrap this up, let's wrap up real quick with a GDO playlist.
Oh yeah.
What you been bumping? What you been listening to? And if it's reggaeton, I know we've been on the Latino gang stuff. So
What I always listen to, but lately I've been really craving some like salsa,
salsa, merengue. We were listening to some salsa down there too.
cumbia,
Bailando.
bachata.
Yeah. Stuff that's like some
old-
ass shaking music. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Make
the
it
like
dance.
classic,
Yeah.
romantic,
True,
all that
true,
stuff.
true.
Which
Hell
also
yeah.
we're gonna have to take some lessons so we can actually do a proper dance at our wedding.
Dude, I'm telling you, well, okay. I said that from the start, and you were like, no. I for sure was like,
Oh.
I was like, hey, let's take some like salsa lessons or some sort of a dancing lesson
Remember.
so that we can
This didn't
make a
happen.
choreography. And you were like, no.
Well, no, I'm not doing a weird. I thought you were
Dude,
talking about
I'm
like a weird choreographed dance, like hip hop.
like Jabberwockies.
You're just like, let's do a choreographed dance. Like, no, let's do salsa. Let's do a
Yeah, yeah.
tango together.
Yeah, you can choreograph
I
that.
don't. Okay. Well, it conjured up a different image in my mind,
Yeah,
but I
sure.
agree.
To each their own.
Gotta
And
put on the show. Put on a show for our friends and family.
I'm down. Salsa merengue. So we're gonna do a GDO salsa playlist to be able to bump that old and new, and you'll be able to bump that whenever you're making some Mexican cuisine, some Spanish cuisine, some Latin cuisine, let's say, because salsa is not just Mexico, salsa and bachata and merengue. You said we're gonna throw all of those in there. Oh no,
I said bachata,
salsa,
cumbia.
cumbia, bachata. little trifecta.
Hmm?
The big three, some might say.
Big three? Who, me? Wait, what did he say? Talking big three? Yeah,
It's just
it's
big
me.
me.
Yeah.
Henry, what do you got to say to the people? Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right.
I can't believe
And
you
that's
said
all,
that
folks.
on
That's
camera.
all, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our love story and our engagement story.
Yeah.
And hope that you're able to spread some love and share some quality time
Eat some
with
good food. Have some
those
good drinks.
that you love. And have some good drinks and eat some good food.
So make sure you stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Love you all. Mwah.
Or should I say, adios.